Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch. Please forgive me if I sound extra Scottish today. It's because I'm reviewing the Spinnaker X Scottish watches Nessie Mark II. I reviewed the first, the Braveheart, a couple of years ago, but I didn't actually review the Nessie Mark I because it had sold out by the time the watch arrived in Sydney. I think both Spinnaker and Scottish watches have learned from that experience because they're making more of these this time. They're making 650 individually numbered pieces and they're available for sale from today. Now you saw the pop-up. The watch on my wrist is number 000. It's a sample piece, but I do not have to send it back. I get to keep it. I will of course therefore leave a link to the listing for the Nessie on the Spinnaker website in the description of the video. And both parties really do put quite a lot into these collaborations. There's a bunch of nice touches on both the front of the watch and on the back of the watch. I would not describe it as subtle, but I would describe it as a lot of fun. And remember, if it's not Scottish, it's crap! Let's flip the camera and have a look at it. So if this is a Scottish watch, then you know I gotta talk about money today. So what do you get? And more importantly, how much does it cost? Well, these are priced at $425 a piece. I think that's perfectly reasonable. I've said it before about Spinnaker's limited editions when I reviewed the Seconde last year. I reckon they're really fair. I reckon they could charge a little bit more if they wanted to. But they don't want to. They're in the business of selling watches. And they would love, I'm sure, to see all 650 of these to sell out at a reasonable price than sell 100 of them at a higher cost, higher margin and leave a bad taste in people's mouths. That's not the Scottish way, is it? So you get a bunch of gear here. You get a lovely note from Ricky, the founder of Scottish Watches, thanking you for purchasing it and explaining what has gone into it. There are several opportunities actually to scan a QR code to activate a warranty. You get a little pen here, no battery included though, which I assume is a UV pen to charge up the torch. I have my own serious device for that. Don't worry, you'll be seeing the loom shortly. You get a couple of hang tags and another little limited edition certificate. This one, as discussed, is 000 out of 650. And you also get a watch. Now, this Nessie Mark II is based on their Fleuss Diver. I reviewed Spinnaker's regular Fleuss a couple of years ago and I enjoyed it. It's definitely one of their better models. But how do you make something even better? You cover it in Scottish references, such as the saltire on the bezel, the blue leather strap with white retainers, a set of coordinates printed on the chapter ring, which if you go to Google Maps and punch them in, you will find goes straight to the middle of Loch Ness, of course. A custom display caseback, again with the saltire, the waters of Loch Ness, and there she is, Nessie, bobbing along in the background, and she does a full 360 every time the rotor spins. And Nessie is actually on the small seconds complication down there at the 430. That's her poking her head as she does once every 60 seconds. So Scottish references abound then, as discussed, many of them not exactly subtle, but combined they really do make a special edition a little bit special. So as the Spinnaker Nessie Mark II Pearl Diver is based on the Fleuss, a regular Spinnaker model, the dimensions are shared pretty much between the two, those being 43mm in diameter, 14.9mm thick. Nessie's a big girl. 51mm lug to lug, likewise 22mm between the lugs, 103 grams as supplied on the blue leather strap, 150 meters of water resistance and a screw down crown. Now, rather disappointingly, that doesn't quite get you all the way to the bottom of Loch Ness, which is 227 meters deep at its deepest point, domed sapphire crystal, and a three-hand Japanese automatic movement. That's what they say it is anyway. I reckon it's a Miyota 82S5. Yeah, that's definitely what I think it is. You can see the horizontal Tokyo stripes that you get on the more up-spec'd 8000 series Miyotas on the back, and you can see the small second complication down there at the 430 that Spinnaker and Scottish Watches have chosen to adorn with Nessie. Case finish is very pleasant, super fine horizontal brushing on the mid case and the upper lug surfaces, high polish chamfer running lug tip to lug tip, and the saltire bezel has a high polish and a coin edge bezel action. Really rather nice. There's a tiny little bit of bounce, but it's stiff, it sounds good. Yeah, bezel even Nessie would be proud of. Not sure she'd be too proud of the onion crown, though it does seem slightly at odds with the rest of the design. And the strap's pretty good, typical Spinnaker. They've been fitting pretty much the same thing to their watches for years now. Water resistant leather, you can see the kind of seal at the edges. I wouldn't suggest you do go diving in Loch Ness with your leather strap Spinnaker, but if you do get it wet in the bath or jump in and out of a pool in it, then it isn't going to rot on you instantly, put it that way. Nice matching hardware as well with that same fine brush on it. Dial and hands, there's a lot going on here. I will chuck in plenty of macro as appropriate. Now, they call this the Pearl Diver. That dial is mother of pearl in inverted commas. There is a very mild pearlescent effect to it from certain angles, but I wouldn't describe it as mother of pearl, so if you're expecting full-on pearlescence, maybe look elsewhere, but do be aware that it's not just a flat blue. There's going to be a little bit of a sheen to it here and there. I think that's a kind of reasonable way of describing it. Lots going on though. All those numerals and those hour markers, the circular hour markers and the batons at the 12 and the 6 are all applied. Nessie obviously down there at the 4:30 and the small seconds is recessed, and that's quite a handset. The hands almost look slightly cartoonish, like one of those Casio mangas or the D1 Milano sketches from a couple of years ago. I think it works overall though, and the mother of pearl dial, as mild as it is, does add a little bit of extra something. And as you saw earlier on, the printed chapter ring with minute markers around the outer edge at the top has got those coordinates of Loch Ness, and at the bottom reminds everyone, including the wearer, that this watch is a limited edition. On wrist 43 with a 51 lug to lug and nearly 15mm thick is a little bit large, a couple of mil in all areas larger than what is average, I guess, in today's market. Now, that is going to delight some but alienate others. Entirely up to you which of those two camps you fall into. Nice comfy straps though, pretty hard wearing and durable. But obviously this one can go on any other 22mm straps you happen to have in the house. I'm sure there are some particularly patriotic Scottish flag style NATO straps that would suit this one down to the ground. And that's the overhead shot. Big dial, big hands, big numerals equals big legibility. But as much as I would love to tell you all to rush out and buy two each in a fit of expat patriotism, yeah, I'm still going to have a few complaints in the moans and niggles section. The movement does not hack. It's clearly one of those slightly older 8000 series that do not stop when the crown is pulled out. And the fact that they have chosen to put Nessie's head on the small second sub-register means you don't really get a second's hand with this watch. Again, like the sizing, some people are going to be okay with that, but others, it may end up being a bit of a deal breaker. And the lume, yeah, not quite as good as I was hoping it would be. Certainly bright initially, and you can see Nessie just about rotating every 60 seconds down there at the 4:30, but when I turn the speed up, she's gone almost immediately, and the bezel insert followed by the indices, and lastly the hands are all pretty much gone as well by the end of my test. There is also a bit of lume on the case back as well. Again, Nessie, you can see her spinning around there because this is a unidirectional winding Miyota 8000 series, but just like the front of the watch, it doesn't last quite long enough. And how much Scotland is too much Scotland to include in a watch? There is a line, and if you cross that line, you end up looking like one of those shops selling goods to tourists in the high street in Edinburgh. And like I said, this watch is based on the Spinnaker Flus. You don't have to pay $425 for the base watch. You can buy it for just over half of that, and this one is powered by a Seiko rather than a Miyota. But that's not really the point, is it? This is a special edition that allows Scots at home, Scots abroad, or just people who like Scotland to have a little bit of Scotland, or perhaps several little bits of Scotland on their wrist. So there you have it. If you have the other two Scottish Watches X Spinnaker collabs in your collection, then really there's no excuse for not buying this one. And if you don't, there's still no excuse for not buying this one because, as we all now know, if it's not Scottish, it's crap! If you don't fancy the special edition, then check out my review of the regular Flus, or arguably the best Spinnaker, the Bradner. Thanks for watching. I'll see you over there.